Hi, everybody. So we are going to start on step 2 of the project. Yay! We're on day 3 and 4 of the project here. And so let's scroll down to look at the overview. Now I'm going to encourage you to read the overview and the rubric for the project. It is important that you know where we're going so that you feel more comfortable with the directions that I'm giving you. So please, please, please read over the steps of the project. So today, if you are watching this video, you have completed step 1. And right now, you and I are going to be working on step 2, 3, and 5 together. We're going to actually be doing these 3 steps at the same time because it just makes the most sense to do them as we're going. And it's the way Ms. Lawrence is trying to make this very concise and purposeful for you. So looking at that, if you read over those step 2, step 3, and step 5, then you'll understand where we're going. All right, so now let's get to it. We are on step 2, part 2, and we're going to be completing step 5, C and D of our process. So let me tell you what you've done in order to get to this point. So in the process of getting to this point, you have already completed this step here, which is step 2, part 1. You have completed that already. And so now, because you completed it, you have a spreadsheet that looks like this, where you have your link for your desmos here, and you have your pre-image points here. You have added extra letters for extra points that you have. So I have 11 points. So I added the letter K to cover my 11 points. And so now that you have this, you are ready to move forward. So we are going to fill in this column, column D, and column E, column F, and column G. We're going to fill in those columns today. Okay, so let's show you a picture of what that looks like. So here, this is where we're starting today. The video that I'm making right now will come right here. It will be in this location, right here. Okay, now let's look at the example here that we're looking at. So this is what a final spreadsheet is going to look like when we're done, right? But then what we're focusing on today is the translation here, which is the green, and the dilation, which is the red. We're going to focus on that. Now, in this spreadsheet, translation and dilation is in a different order than how we're going to do it, but that's okay, right? Our translation and dilation will be in the first 2 columns, all right? So, and that's okay. So today I am going to show you how to write a translation rule, and I'm going to show you how to write a dilation rule, and then we're going to put the points in the spreadsheet and do the math on them. So the math will be done in a different video. We're just going to get the points done at least first. So it says create 1 translation and 1 dilation rule. Well, that means I need to look at my transformation rule sheet, which is given to me right here. And I am looking at the function notation of that. So write the rules and function notation in the spreadsheet you started on. That's what we're going to do after we write our rule, after we decide what we're going to do. So then next, after we do that, we're going to perform the transformation, whichever one we decide to do first, whether it's translation or dilation. And then we're going to perform the second transformation, which would be the one that we didn't do the first time. We're going to do that again. And then we're going to click submit, which sends me an updated spreadsheet. And it also updates the one that you have in your Google Drive. All right, so here we go. Let's pick a transformation rule. So let's zoom in to see what the transformation rules look like. All right, so we're going to pick a translation. So translation is actually made up of a horizontal movement and a vertical movement. It's actually made up of a horizontal movement and a vertical movement. So our horizontal movement is going to be A. A is our horizontal movement. You learned that today. And B is our vertical movement. XY is any point. Okay? And so A is the same A here, and B is the same B here. We use a plus sign if it's in a positive direction, and a minus if it's in a negative direction. So positive directions are up, right, and right. Negative directions are down, right, oops, down, and left. Those are positive and negative directions. Okay, so this is the function rule. My rule that I'm going to make is T -2, 3, right, and XY. Now, let me tell you what the -2 means. So it means I'm moving my picture 2 units to the left and 3 units up. That's what it means. I'm moving my picture 2 units to the left and 3 units up. That's what it means. So this is going to be my function rule. Now, you're probably wondering, where did I get the number 2 and 3 from? -2 and 3 from? I made it up. I just came up with a number. So can you. You can come up with any numbers you want. Say you wanted 4 and -8. Then you would simply write T -4, 8, XY equals X minus 4, Y plus 8. Say you wanted +5, -1. Then you would say 5, -1, and you would say X plus 5, Y minus 1. And you would just make your rule. Okay? All right, so I'm going to erase this because that's not the one I'm going to use. I just wanted to make sure you understood how to write a translation in function notation. All right, so let me repeat. This is function notation. Let me go a step further in letting you know that the points, the original points, your pre-image, right, that's your domain for this function. Right, that's your domain. When we do the rule on those points, the output, the image, that's our range. That is our range. Okay, so next, let's come up with a rule for dilation. So for dilation, K is the scale factor. K is the scale factor. And remember K, right, it's an enlargement if K is greater than 1. It's an enlargement if K is greater than 1. It's a reduction if K is between 0 and 1. If K is between 0 and 1. So an example of a number that is greater than 1 would be 4, 3, 7. A number that's between 0 and 1 would be 1/3, right? 1/2, say 2/7, right? Those numbers would be between 0 and 1. So I'm going to be pretty simple, and well, probably not as simple as y'all think, right? I'm going to do D 1/3. X, y. I'm going to do 1/3 as my scale factor is equal to, and the way you write the rule, the same k you use here is the same k you use here and here. So this part, so I'm going to repeat. Like I said over here, this part is your input, is your domain, and this part right here is your output, which is your range. So when you put the point in, this is what you want to come out. 1/3 x, 1/3 y. Another way to write this would be like this. X over 3, y over 3. It's the same thing as saying 1/3. Okay, so we have chosen our function rule, and now we're ready to type it into our spreadsheet. So let's go to our spreadsheet and type these function rules in. I'm going to type my rule there. Now, I said I was moving 2 units to the left and 3 units up. 2 units to the left and 3 units up. So, and I need to choose a color as well. So here we go. T, and I can't do a subscript, so I'm just going to type it in parentheses, -2, comma 3, and that's just because I can't do a subscript, right? Now what's supposed to go in the parentheses is actually xy, so I'm going to put xy in parentheses equals, and remember I said it was going to go 2 units to the left, so that's x minus 2, and 3 units up, so that's y plus 3. I just finished typing my function rule. There you go. So now I'm going to type my other function rule, my dilation. So that's D. I said 1/3. Again, I can't do a subscript, so I'm going to do 1/3 as a fraction right there in the parentheses. And remember, xy is supposed to be in parentheses there, is equal to, all right, and as a fraction, I'm just going to type 1/3 x, comma 1/3 y. And so I've typed my function rules. Now I did translation first and then dilation. You could do dilation and then translation. It depends on how you feel. Nobody cares which one you do first. So now I need to choose a color. I need to make sure I choose colors that are going to be on Desmos, okay? So what colors are on Desmos? Let's make sure we know. So let's go to the gear again, and let's click on this so we can see what colors are available on Desmos. So I know that my pre-image is orange, so I definitely need to change this to orange, right? But what other colors are available in Desmos? Red, blue, purple, black, and green. So those are the colors that I need to use on my spreadsheet. Red, blue, green, purple, or black. Or green. I think I said green already. So purple is my favorite, so I'm going to use purple. Well, purple is one of my favorite colors, so I'm going to use purple there. All right, and then for dilation, I think I'm going to use green. Now, do you have to use the 2 colors that I use? No. Remember, you have options. Okay, you have blue, red, and black. If you do use black, though, okay, so let me tell you, if you do use black, here's what you need to do. So if I use black, like so, I need to make sure my print is white so that it comes through. Okay, all right, I hope that makes sense. So I'm gonna just take that off because I don't need that. All right, so now I'm gonna perform the rule on my points. So I'm gonna subtract 2 from my x coordinates, subtract 2 from my x coordinates. So -3.5 minus 2 is -5.5. And I'm gonna keep doing the same thing all the way down until I finish getting all my points. So -4.75 minus 2 is -6.75. And so I'm not going to use the video to do all the points. I think you get the point. Point, get it? Point. All right, y coordinates. We're going to add 3 to the y coordinates. So 1.75 plus 3. That means that's going to be 4.75. 0 plus 3 is 3, and so on and so forth until you get all your points filled in. Then you're going to come over here to the next table, the next side, and we're going to do a dilation. Okay. Now with the dilation, you got to be really careful, right? Because you're multiplying by a third. All right. So that's going to be a little funky because we're dealing with decimals. And then we're going to turn around and have more decimals, right? Because 1/3 is a decimal. All right, so what you're going to do, we're going to multiply the x coordinate by 1/3, and we're going to multiply the y coordinate by 1/3. So I'm going to say negative 5.5 times 1/3. And I get negative 1.83 repeating. So I'm just going to round it to the hundredths place and do negative 1.83. If you want to do more threes, you can. That's fine. All right, so that's my x coordinate. Now I'm going to do my y coordinate the same way. It was 1/3 times y. 1/3 times y. So 4.75 times 1/3. I got 1.583333. So 1.58 and several threes. Same thing, I'm going to do this next row, negative 6.75 times 1/3, which is negative 2.25. Ooh, that came out nicely. Appreciate it. Thank you. Okay, so remember that we wanted to make sure we were doing our points based off the previous points. So when we did the translation rule, we based it off the orange, which is the pre-image. When we did the dilation rule, we based it off the purple, which is the pre-image for the dilation. I'll repeat. So the pre-image was the pre-image for the purple, but the purple now becomes the pre-image for the dilation. Okay? And so whoever is here is going to be the pre-image for the one that's there. Now, that's called a composition. And you learned about compositions today. So you want to make sure your project is a composition. When we do the next two rules, we will base it off the previous columns, and that will make it a composition. If you go back to the beginning, that is not a composition. Our project is a composition. All right. So that's why it's important for you to read over the project, because we discussed that it is a composition. All right. It is a composition of points. So any composition, that's what we're doing. All right. So now I have all of my points. So let's go ahead and get started with transferring them all over to Desmos. Now, so you remember in the beginning, one of the first videos I told you, you can't copy the points from Desmos to your spreadsheet, but you can copy the points from your spreadsheet to Desmos. So you're simply going to select these points. Notice that I don't have a plus sign or anything. All right, so now you're going to copy. All right. And you're going to go to your Desmos spreadsheet, your Desmos, and you're going to paste it in here. And the only thing you want to make sure of is the same color that shows up here is the same color that's on your spreadsheet. So I had purple on my spreadsheet. I want to make sure I have purple in Desmos. All right. Go ahead and go to the gear, connect the dots so that you see that you did the math correctly. If you did not do the math correctly, your picture is not going to look the same. Okay. All right, let's go ahead and get the other one. So we're going to go ahead and click here, right? And then we're going to select by just highlighting, right, the other parts. And then we're going to go back to Desmos again, and we're going to paste our other table. Control paste, right? And I'm lucky. right? My spreadsheet came out the same color as here. Sometimes that doesn't happen. All right. So, but mine was green on my spreadsheet and it's green in Desmos. And I want that to happen. So I'm going to go to the gear again. I'm going to click on here and I'm going to connect the dots. And again, if I did not do it correctly, it's going to show that I didn't do correctly. The math correctly, rather. All right, and that's how you put your picture in Desmos. Now, don't forget to save because you do it all again. So don't forget to save. All right, thank you.